Now that you have learned about each of the types of evaluations that are tied to the logic model for this class, we are going to return to Project Hive and identify the ways we can evaluate the program based on the activities developed in Hive's logic model. So for the rest of this lecture, I'm going to map on an evaluation plan to our original logic model for Hive to help you see how a process, outcome, and impact evaluation can help provide information for the program. Again, a process evaluation helps find out the extent to which a program's activities are carried out. So let's determine the criteria, standards, and methods of collection for this evaluation. Based on the activities that Hive has designed, criteria we can measure are the number of HIV tests given over a period of time, the number of people coming in to use the needle exchange, and the frequency of support groups that are offered within a specific time period. So in order to make a judgment on these activities, we would then set the standards. In the case of Hive, the program developers have determined that they want 95% of the people using the needle exchange program to be offered an HIV test, 95% of the people coming into the program given information on the needle exchange, and support groups to be available to people on a bi-weekly basis. Finally, in order to figure out if these standards are being met, the Hive program developers can use archival records collected by the program when the participants come in for needles or services in order to determine that the standards have been met. The outcome evaluation for Hive should be used to determine how the program is working in the short term, looking at changes in knowledge, attitudes, or behaviors as a result of the program's activities. So for the criteria of the program, Hive has determined that they want to see a change in the number of HIV tests being taken at the organization, the number of people accessing the needle exchange, and the number of people attending support groups. And the standards set by this program are that 95% of the people using the needle exchange program should have taken at least one HIV test since accessing services within a 6-month period. Less than 5% of those receiving needles from the exchange program to report having used shared needles since first accessing services within a 6-month time period. And finally, at least 75% of the people who have attended support groups to have attended at least 3 groups over the course of 6 months. And the data to measure these standards include archival records from the organization that indicate the number of people having taken HIV tests, used the needle exchange, and attended support groups. But we could also conduct interviews and do surveys with people who have accessed services at Hive. The impact evaluation for Hive should be used to help identify changes regarding the condition in the community at large. So the criteria set for this evaluation are a reduction in the incidence of drug-related HIV positive diagnoses in the county, and increased social support over time for those who have accessed Project Hive for services. And the standards, again, set by the program are a 50% reduction of the incidence of drug-related HIV positive diagnoses overall in the county after 12 months of the program being in place, and having support group attendees who are able to identify new support in their lives, including people and connections to other community organizations. And finally, the data to measure these standards include local health department records, program records available or archival records from the program, and again, surveys of the participants having attended the program. So now that we have reached the end of this unit, I hope you have had the chance to begin to understand how community programs are developed, as well as how they continue to stay sustainable. Evaluation can help organizations and programs determine what is working, what isn't, and identify how they can best reach their goals.